you thinking about buying your first real estate investment, fixing it up and selling it for profit? Today we're going to talk about how to flip a house for the first time. So if you're contemplating flipping your first house, you need to think about a few things. Number one, we need to contemplate what level are you at in this industry. It doesn't mean that you've ever done anything in this industry, but you could have skills that relate to it. Where are you at? Were you raised in the construction business, or were you raised doing something completely different? What's the chances that you can get through this without some professional help? Number two is we want to look at your options. Now, there's a whole bunch of choices that we could contemplate. If this is our first house, there's more than one way to approach it. And then last but not least, let me show you the number one way I suggest that you go about it if you're going to flip your first house. So what level are you at compared to the size of this job of flipping a house? Well, the first question is, how much rehab does it really need? And if it needs a lot, then you may have to have more absorbent amount of skills, or you may not. The thing is, were you a pencil pusher and a job management person, or were you a carpenter and a real hands-on, a guy that could fix anything? Do you have a lot of common sense, or do you need to have graphs and charts and be exact? Some of these things can work against us. If you really want things to be perfect, you're going to have a hard time in this business, because hardly anything goes perfect in this business. So figure out where you're at and decide, do I really need some help with this, or am I going to go about it on my own? I think most of the people out there would be better off if they got some help and teamed up with someone, but we're going to talk about some options. So you've assessed your skill level and whether you think you're up for this job. Now you have to make some decisions. You can choose to just jump in and wing it. That's how I did it. You can choose to spend some more time getting educated. You can hire a coach or a mentor, or you can partner up with someone. I only winged it once, jumped in, got pummeled, and then the very next house, I partnered up with someone. So if you want to ask me, what's the best way, the number one way to do your first house? Partner up with someone who's done many, if not hundreds, okay? This will be good for you for a lot of different reasons. One is, there's a lot of anxiety if you march into a war that you have no idea what you're doing. And this can be a war. You also are going to have the ability to tap your partner's network. You'll start to meet people you would never meet on your own, because this partner who's been down the road a ways knows a lot of people by now, way more people than you know, that can help you in this industry. They may also have the financial means that you don't have. You know, the guy who rules this business is the guy that gets a great deal under contract and has that physical contract in his hand with some time before there's a closing. You don't have to have any money to control a property with about 7 pieces of paper called a contract. And the guy who can get the best contract signed, the one that's the most stellar deal on the planet, that's the guy that runs this whole industry. Because you don't need money to get that. Everyone's looking for the good deal. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is partners don't care if you have money. They want to know what your deal looks like. And if your deal's good, they'll bring their expertise and their money just so they can share in the upside of that fantastic deal that you just contracted. So that's what I would try to do. I would try to partner up with someone who was a veteran. And I would say, hey, I got this house. I got it under contract. No doubt it's a good deal. Do you agree it's a good deal? They go, yes, that's a fantastic deal. Say, great. Let's partner on it. I'll bring the deal, you bring the money and the expertise, and show me how to survive a house flip. Not only survive it, but survive it and make good money. I do want to digress for 1 second, and let's just talk about winging it. I did it that way. I got lucky. I was able to make some money before I lost some money. Then I make some money before I lost some money, and I never really went under. But I almost went under, and that's the problem with winging it. If you wing it, you might go out on your first house and suffer such a loss or such a beating that you'll get out of this industry for good. I almost got out of this industry. I had to hire a coach to try to help me get out because I had 25 rent houses that were killing me because I didn't know what I was doing. This guy taught me how to sell or finance my houses. And I was just trying to seller finance them so I could get away and get out. I started making so much money seller financing houses that I stayed in this business for over 24 years. So the reason why I'm still here is ultimately because I stopped winging it and I got a coach who showed me how to do things right. That's the fear that I have if you're going to go out there and wing it. You might go out there on your first deal and get beat up so bad or have such a bad experience that you quit, or that your wife or your spouse puts so much pressure on you because you took a beating on that last one that there's no way they're going to condone you doing another one. And now you're out of this business because you failed one time. So get educated, get a coach if you can. And if the number one thing you can do is partner up with someone who knows what they're doing. So it goes in that order. Either you get super educated and get a coach, or get super educated and get a partner that knows what they're doing and just follow in his footsteps. So you have some questions or some comments about this episode, go ahead and put your questions or comments right down here below. I'll do my very best to answer them. But a lot of times I can direct you someplace that I've already answered it. And usually when I've taken time to answer something in writing, it's very thorough. And then I kind of just warehouse that stuff at my website or at my blog or something. I can tell you exactly where to go to get the answer you're looking for. And it will be very thorough. Also, you could get on a weekly coaching call, which would be very beneficial to you. You can not only ask the questions that you want to ask, but you can listen to the questions of everybody else on the call and just learn by just sitting back and listening if that's all you do. Sometimes I tell people who don't know what to ask, just tell me what you plan on doing this week or what you did last week and let me see if I can up your game. Just tell me what you're thinking. What are you planning on doing? What do you want to be doing? And let me see if I can get you there. So go to the 1000houses.com website, and then that'll take you to the homepage, right? And you just scroll up and down and find recorded Q&A call and click on it. It's about an hour and a half call. And believe me, you're going to learn a lot. When you become a member and actually get on that call as a paid member, it comes with 500 hours of archived recorded Q&A calls. So you can listen to me and Mike Powell until you're sick to death of us, because there's more than you'll ever hear. But you can learn a ton by listening to people around the nation talk about what they've done and what they haven't done and how it affected them. And so before we wrap it up, I have this other idea. So why don't you get your partner or your spouse or whoever's engaged with this decision-making process, and why don't you listen to the call together? Because I think that'll give you some real data to analyze and weigh, and I think you can have a good conversation about whether that recording group coaching call is for you. All right, we'll see you at the next episode. Bye now.